Now to round up another big headline of the week, the Army plans to cut 40,000 soldiers from its ranks over the next 2 years. The cuts have been long expected as part of the post-war drawdown and due to impending budget cuts. Federal budget cuts will mean 3 Army posts in Texas will lose nearly 5,000 troops. After the cuts, U.S. forces will be down to 450,000, the lowest since 1940. So how low is too low? The upcoming military cuts is our topic this half hour. You can weigh in on our Fox 26 Facebook page or send a tweet. Be sure to use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our roundup panel led by our senior legal analyst Chris Tritico, our news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning again.
Good morning.
So how low is too low?
That's a great question. The military says we're already at the low and we should not go any lower. But let's talk about why we're doing this. This is a part of the sequestration, the Budget Control Act that was passed in 2011 when Congress couldn't pass a budget that the president would sign, and instead of sitting down and coming to an agreement, they passed this sequestration law that requires $450 billion to be cut from the military and about the same to be cut from domestic spending, really without any thought. It just comes off the top and they have to deal with it. That's what's causing the military to cut these drastic numbers out of the military. They're not cutting troop strength, they're cutting civilian jobs. But when you take away a civilian job, Jackie Bally, you have to put a enlisted person in that position, which takes them out of the line to go fight, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and the timing is just very bad because in the meantime, you have ISIS that's growing quicker and rapidly, and we need to have protection. So the Army's chief of staff, his name is Ray Ordino, and he has been very much against the president's military position since he's been in office, and he said that the president is anti-military. And his comments have been Obama's plan to reduce the number of people enrolled in the Army could pose serious security threats as ISIS is rapidly growing. And he said that he plans to step down in 2 years and feels sorry for his successor because he is going to be placed in a position that he cannot protect the country. Morale is very low in the military right now, and so the timing is very bad, and a lot of people are not happy, especially our armed men and women who are trying to protect us and make our country safe.
Do you agree this is a result of the sequestration law?
I agree that this is a result of the president being anti-military.
How about that?
It's the sequestration law, and that's kind of every newspaper headline will say that. Look, and the military says that more than. But I want to read also a list. We spend more money on our military than China, Russia, United Kingdom, Japan, France, Saudi Arabia, India, Germany, Italy, and Brazil combined. We spend more money than all of those folks combined up until recently. And so if we're going in the other direction, it's probably about time. 1 out of 5 federal dollars is spent on the military, and we spend so much in the military that we are losing our priorities back home. And the only way to change that is what we're doing. In addition to 450,000 troops, we also have the National Guard and reserves and others that we can. So we have a troops of almost 1 million people. And when we talk about ISIS is 20,000 people, and we have one of the largest military in the world.
All right, let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, let's take a look at Twitter and see some of the tweets that are coming in. The first one I want to share with you is from Matt. He says military and veteran-related expenditures are continually in the top 5 programs impacting the national debt. And then Kate says, does anyone feel safe anymore under President Obama? Truthfully, he is cutting back on our troops while other countries are adding on. Why is that? And then this man says, cutting a mere 40,000 troops to me is the president trying to send a message to other nations to take up a greater share of global and regional security. Interesting perspective.
Well, it is if it were true. I fear that this is being twisted into something that it's not. The military cuts that are going on right now are a direct result of Congress passing the law on sequestration and the president signing that law. And if Congress wants to stop cutting military, they should end that law, as the president's asked twice now.
Yeah, but we've seen this president, and he goes around Congress and he does whatever he wants to do, and he continues to do what he wants to do. And his military policy continues to reduce the number of replacing aging weapons. It also has reducing the number of captains and majors up to 2,000 per year, and reducing our armed forces 30,000 annually. And this is what we've had top military officers, people in the top positions in our military, all armed forces, who have been fighting the president since he's been in office because of this anti-military. Like Mustafa said, people like the president and him believe that the military is too large, and so it's been an anti-military, anti-USA attitude, and a lot of the military men and women have been fighting our president since day one.
What about it?
Anti-USA attitude. Look, cutting our federal budget has been top priority for conservatives, right? $1 out of $5 spent
Except
on
the military.
Well, look, when you talk about the military, reviewing our social studies books, power of the purse relies in Congress. And the reason why we ended up with sequestration was they enacted a law that said if we weren't going to balance the budget, there were automatic cuts that were going to go in. This took away their responsibility of cutting individual programs like the military. So they created across-the-board cuts, and that was a negotiated thing that the Republicans came up with.
But why doesn't Congress then undo that? All they have to do is pass a bill. Why don't they do that?
They have not been able to do anything because they don't want to take a position that's not favorable by the voters. And at the same time, they want to cut the budget. So how are you going to do it?
And they know with this current president, if they do put more money into the military, they know he's going to veto it because he has made it clear he will veto anything that is.
The president already said he would sign a bill that would undo the sequestration twice.
Yeah, he can say that all he wants to, but this sequestration started with him because of his fighting with the Republican-strong Congress. So of course he's going to say something like that, but we all know that he would veto it.
So you wouldn't call his bluff? Pass the bill.
Let me finish. We all know that he would veto it because he's more focused on immigration and letting illegal aliens come in illegally. And by the way, his chief of staff have said one of the things that reducing the armed forces, not only are we worried about ISIS, but now we're going to be worried about all of our borders not being secure.
So my question is, you wouldn't call his bluff. He said twice, I'll sign it, pass a bill, and send it to him. Why not?
Because he's not going to do it, period. It's a waste of time. He's not going to do it. We've seen with this president, he doesn't listen to Congress. He does what he wants to do.
Why not just do it?
His executive actions.
Hang on, we're out of time. Why not just do it?
Because we have three parties in a two-party system. You have the Tea Party and the Republican establishment, and they can't seem to get along. They can't agree on anything. And, you know, look, we have spent so much on our military. If you're going to roll back the deficit, the only way to do it is to reduce everything, and the big chunk of that is the military.
And we have a president who doesn't care what Congress wants to do, or doesn't care what
he
doesn't care what Americans want. He's going to do what he wants. He has proven that with his executive actions.
And that's why Congress is going to sit back and do nothing then?
I didn't say that.
We're
working very hard, but he's going to leave it right there and veto everything we do anyway.